So you're playing a character that we've known for a while on other series, but this is the first time we're seeing her, you know, a fully formed like teenager, her own person. So how much freedom did you get in crafting who, you know, this character is and her personality?
I surprisingly got a lot of freedom with crafting Josie. I watched the Vampire Diaries a lot growing up, and I think that even with the 4-year-old version, you got a little bit of a taste of who Josie was and who she is now. And she's 15 years old, so she's changed a lot. But I walked on set for episode 1, and I was expecting people to kind of mold me into what they were expecting Josie to be, but nobody said anything, and I had full range to do what I wanted and who I thought that she was, and I thought that that was really exciting.
Can you talk about Josie's relationship with her sister?
Josie and Lizzie are so complicated. They obviously love each other so much, and Josie is willing to sacrifice anything for Lizzie, even if that is her happiness. And throughout season 1, I think you're going to see Josie develop a little bit of a backbone and learn to kind of stand up for herself and what she wants.
Can you talk a little bit about Josie and MG's friendship?
I love Josie and MG's friendship. It's my favorite thing ever. You know, I feel like throughout, you know, Vampire Diaries was about love, the originals was about family, and the Legacies, I think, is about friendship. And Josie and MG's friendship is what I think is one of the most solid relationships throughout Legacies. It is unchanging. She can get mad at him for making out with your ex, but there comes a point where it's like your bro comes first. And I think that MG is definitely a very solid person in her life.
You spoke a little bit about how you were a fan of the Vampire Diaries growing up. Could you explain a little bit about your relationship with this franchise, you know, before you signed on and what it means to you now to be a part of it?
Yeah, absolutely. My mom and I started watching the Vampire Diaries when I was 14 on Netflix, and we watched so much of it that we actually transferred over to watching it every week. And I loved it. Like, I lived and breathed it. I feel a little bit creepy walking onto the set and seeing the fireplace and seeing these things, because I feel like I'm like that stalker fan that got welcomed onto the set and like kind of snuck my way in. And it's just so crazy because I mean, watching the twins being born on the Vampire Diaries and then watching them be 4 and then I think they were 12 on the originals. I feel like, no pun intended, there is a legacy that I need to kind of uphold. But I feel nothing but excitement, a little bit of nervousness of how people would react to it, but I'm really excited.
And just as a quick follow-up, was there any relationship on any of the 2 previous series that you were a huge fan of?
Klaroline. Danielle hates me for saying that. I love Klaus and Caroline so much. I'm also a Stelena shipper, which I know is very controversial, but I love Elena and Stefan so much.
We'll never feel bad for liking what you like.
Thank you so much.
Is there a particular character from the Vampire Diaries or the originals that you would like to see on Legacies at some point?
There is. I love Kai Parker so much. I'm fighting so hard for Kai Parker to come back. I know he's busy on Supergirl. I'm super happy for him. But I would love Kai Parker. Just any of that Gemini coven to come back into Josie's world would be so cool to see happen.
You said that Josie would do anything for her sister. Does that potentially create conflicts? Because it seems from the pilot that her sister is potentially a very dangerous person.
I think every single character has a little bit of danger to them. Lizzie just so happens to... We have a different way of trying to vie for our father's attention. My way of getting my father's attention is by not getting his attention. Lizzie's way of going about it is to scream at the top of her lungs and crash everything in the kitchen. And I think that Josie has a little bit of that volatile power to her as well. That being said, push comes to shove, Josie would do anything for her sister, and if that creates danger for Josie, I don't think she minds that.
How have you and Jenny been able to form a bond as sisters?
Oh God, Jenny Wood, I love that girl so much. We actually met at the testing for this, and she was brunette at the time, and we like bonded over fragrance or something, I don't even know. And so we got the role together, we got our roles, and we both didn't know who was playing Lizzie and who was playing Josie. it was like nobody knew what was going on. And we actually met for coffee multiple times until we started filming, just to get to know each other. We get along on a very personal Kaylee and Jenny way as much as we do as the twins. We have a very different way of talking to each other than the twins do, obviously. And I think it was really easy for us to just get to know each other as Kaylee and Jenny, and that transfers over as the twins, because I feel like it's very difficult to kind of show what it means to be a twin, because I don't have a twin, but I can show what it means to, you know, have a very strong connection with somebody and try to push for that.
Watching what the other actors are doing, is there any particular storyline you're feeling really invested in, wanting to know what happens next?
There's a lot of storylines that I'm really invested in. I love watching the scenes between Danielle and Landon, oh my god. Danielle and Aria, just because they're fantastic actors and they have a really beautiful story that they're telling. So I'm excited for how people react to that. And I'm excited just to see the ships. It's just great.
Your character obviously is in a relationship with a lot of different people. I was impressed with how the show is dealing with teenage sexuality.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, multiple characters are, you know, getting with other characters. And what does that mean to you, getting to portray this realistic kind of teenage love story?
I mean, it means a lot to me, just because, I mean, growing up in Generation Z, is that what it's called? I don't quite know. All of my friends, we've always been very fluid with who we are as people, and I think that within reading just the breakdown and reading these scripts, it's very realistic. I don't know anybody within my friend group that is very set on who they are sexually, and I feel very honored to kind of represent that with Josie, because Josie just feels love and she sees love. She doesn't see gender. And I'm really excited for people to see that, and I'm really excited for people who feel that to see that representation on screen.
Can you talk a little bit about developing your relationship with Matt, this father-daughter relationship? How's that been?
Yeah, it's been so weird, because obviously watching the Vampire Diaries, I mean, it was so, he sat down, we were doing a scene and he sat down on the bed and I was sitting there and I was like, holy crap, that's a Lark Saltzman. He's my father. It's really cool. He's such a cool guy, and it's so easy to get along with him, and we've kind of created our banter, and he'll be sitting there and he's like, you're actually young enough to be my daughter. I'm like, yes I am. Yes I am. It's just, it's really easy. He's so easy to get along with, and it's so easy to step into that Josie Alaric relationship, just because that's kind of how Matt and I are. He's always kind of looking out for me, and I'm always kind of looking out for him in that way, and there's a lot of respect there.
Having been a fan of the Vampire Diaries, was there a particular set that you saw that just really just kind of made you geek out a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. One of the first sets I ever saw was the, what is it called? The Great Hall, with the Salvatore fireplace, and you saw the little S logo. They've changed a lot of it. The furniture within it is very different because it's supposed to be for the school, but the bones of it is the Salvatore house, and I completely geeked out. I actually brought my mom on set because my mom and I watched it together, and my mom and I were both like, holy crap, like, this is the house. But yeah.